Hello and welcome back to another episode of Chasing Green Arrows. Today we have a lot of Man United supporters with us. Very, very happy Man United supporters, I would like to add. Very important victory. What are your thoughts, guys? Musti, you want to go first?
Oh, I'm ecstatic, man. Like, it was a very nervous game. I was nervous from before the game, but as the game went on, it was scary. Crystal Palace played really well. The first goal gave United a bit of breathing space, but they needed that second goal. And we saw Crystal Palace equalizing, but like just a toenail offside, and it was reversed. But we saw that second goal was really needed, and Martial got that crucial goal. So I'm really relieved. Crucial 3 points, and the fight is still on for the top four.
Yep, it's hitting up really nicely towards the end. Zoe, you want any thoughts to add?
A lot of what Musti said. A great game, great win. It was nervous, very nerve-wracking. I was stressing in the first half. I got lucky, if you ask me, with that Lindelof challenge on Zaha, and also got luckier with the Ayew goal being overturned. Again, at the end of the day, happy about the 3 points. Glad we turned up in the second half. Happy with the second half performance, and just looking forward to fighting for the top four.
Yep. Yusuf, any other points to add?
I think these guys have summarized my feelings pretty adequately. I'd just like to add that it kind of proves that we work on two extremes. When we're on the ball and a bit slow, we're just like a completely different team. It reminds me of the Van Gaal and the Jose Mourinho teams, where it's like, very slow side passing. But then when we get that pace, it's a completely different team. It winds back the years for me. So that's like an observation I'd like to make, because this game had a bit of both. And definitely we were lucky with the penalty shout, but definitely more lucky with the VAR, because it was literally a toenail length. So happy with the win. We take it. We're neck and neck with Leicester. It's going to be a tight one. Hopefully we can get top four.
Yep, very, very exciting. A week ahead of football for especially United, Chelsea, and Leicester fans, of course. Anyway, moving on. Let's go right into the player ratings, right? David De Gea. Zoe, you want to take this one?
Absolutely, I want to take this one. So for me, you guys already know, huge De Gea fan. Loved this game today. Vintage performance. Pulled out some fantastic saves. Save from Luka. I don't know how to say his last name. Milivojevic was top drawer. Absolutely stunning. And he was commanding and vocal today. I like that. I like when De Gea is vocal. I like when he tries to command his box and tell people when he's unhappy, because there was some shaky defending and he was rightfully upset and he made his feelings known. I think that's the sort of leadership that we need from him as well. In terms of a score out of 10 for him today, I'd give him an 8.
Okay, yeah, the De Gea of the old is kind of coming back. I feel like today was very, very, very good performance by him. Moving on, Van Bissaka. Yusuf, you want to take this one?
I like him. He's a good player. He's not the most explosive, I guess, in terms of like attacking prowess, but he gets the job done defensively. He's really good. I wouldn't say he's good dribbling, but he's got this way of getting the ball up the pitch, and he has the odd, move here and there. Solid defender. I don't think he lets too many goals through. Like, he doesn't make too many mistakes, and he tries to get something going attackingly. Probably one of the better right backs we've had in years. Honestly, it's a good start, and he's got potential if he just gets his attacking game up. He had a solid game. I don't think he made too many mistakes. So I'll give him a 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. We can... Fosu Mensah, Yusuf, Musti, you want to take this one?
Yeah, of course I do. Fosu Mensah, I mean, defensively, he looked good. He had a good physical presence, I feel. But attacking-wise is where he lacked. Like, if you saw what his opposite number, Van Holt, what he was doing for Crystal Palace, he was getting to this areas, using the width on the wings and getting the ball in. And I think if Fosu Mensah did that, we would have scored at least a couple of goals in the first half. Like, we were more threatening, more chances created. If you saw the first half, United didn't create that many chances apart from the goal. I think that was lacking going forward for Mensah. But defensively, he was compact. I don't want to be too harsh on him, so I'd give him a 6. But yeah, I felt like he missed, going forward. Like, he should have gone forward a bit more.
6 is a bit harsh in my opinion, but okay, we'll go.
I mean, yeah, defensively, because like if you look at Van Holt, I'm comparing that performance, right? Like, and I was expecting United that type of performance, but it is harsh because he hasn't played a lot. But I'm just basing it on today's performance, nothing against him or anything.
Just a side note, for me personally, I think he's better suited to playing center back than as a fullback.
Yeah. Defensively, he has that physical presence.
Yes, but yeah, I just wanted to make that comment.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
I think that's why. Like, if he was a center back, I would have given a 7 or 8. But like, because of he was a left back, I have to criticize him about the space that he didn't create, like on the wing. Yeah.
And that's fair. Moving on, Harry Maguire. Zo.
Harry.
So for me, Harry, again, this game, he did well. We got a clean sheet, so you have to give him credit for that. The defense does take credit for those.
And you have to give VAR credit for that as well, bro.
Absolutely, we have to give VAR credit for that.
Yeah.
And that's my problem, right? Because I thought his marking on Ayu's goal, Ayu's offside, was poor. He left a lot of space open there, and he basically left De Gea with no chance. But, again, he was very strong up in the air, very strong getting up front. Need more end product from him, in the mold of, let's say, like a Ramos or a Van Dijk, because he does get himself up there. He does he does get a connection with the ball, but he hasn't been putting in the back of the net. I'd like to see him score a little bit more from those positions. Overall, I don't want to be too harsh on the guy, given the fact that, we did get a clean sheet, but I give him a 6.5.
6.5, that's great.
I'd just like to make a little side note on Harry Maguire. Me and Zora were actually talking during the game about him, and we're not going to go into the valuation of players and stuff like that, because we're talking about how Liverpool fans like to compare him with Virgil van Dijk and stuff. But I did notice that relative to the price he was paid, and considering all factors, I find him to be a bit slow on the ball, and he's got more potential than the way he's playing, or he theoretically should have. Like, his header should be more accurate. He should be definitely faster, especially when the teams try to like play behind the defense and they try to like have someone fast, and he struggles against space. So whereas Lindelof is faster, but maybe not as stable as Maguire. So in a way, they might complement each other. But just that side point that Maguire needs a bit more work, I think.
It definitely needs a little bit more work for sure. Yeah, I think also in very, very tight positions, I feel like he's a little bit shaky.
Definitely.
It's a little scary. He might just give a penalty here and there. You kind of don't see that happen, and that's just something maybe he can work on with as time goes on, I guess.
Yeah.
6.5, fair enough. Just continuing on that, Yusuf, you want to go with Lindelof?
Yeah. So Lindelof again, not too much to say apart from he did a good job. He's not outstanding. He's not poor. He's not as erratic as Eric Bailly. So I think he's the preferred center right back for me. I don't think there's anyone else who can take a spot. Again, he didn't have a bad game or a good game. He had a solid game. I'll give him a 7. Definitely better than Maguire. If we're saying Maguire 6.5, then I'll give him a 7.
That's fair. Yep. Cool. Moving on to the midfield, McTominay. Musti, you want to go?
Yeah, McTominay, he didn't have a great game, I feel. He hasn't started much. I think his last start was against Spurs, so he hasn't played that much football. He hasn't got time, but you could clearly see he didn't get onto the ball as much. His passing wasn't that great. Like, it was okay. And like, you could see he was getting rushed when he was on the ball. So I didn't rate his performance too highly, but he was lucky that he had cover. But I don't want to be too harsh on him, but I have to give him a 5 just because I didn't see much from him today. And hopefully, maybe minutes is what he needs to improve. I feel he didn't do anything wrong in that sense. So it's just like, I felt like in that position, you need to be a bit more quick and a bit more energetic on the ball.
Yeah. All right, going with you both agree with that? Zoe and Yusuf?
Yeah, I'm with him on that.
Oh, Zoe agreed. I mean,
I have a question. Is there a difference between the Scott McTominay you feel who was getting all the rave reviews maybe earlier this season or the end of last season and this one, or is it just a matter of him being rusty and not starting?
I think it's for me it's a rustiness, but also it is rustiness for today. But what Matic provides, McTominay doesn't provide that. So I think he needs to build more on the defensive side of things. But in general, today's performance, I would have given a better rating if he wasn't as rusty. I think it was rustiness, but in general, if you look at the big games and other games, I would want him to be a bit more defensive. But yeah, today it wasn't. There's no critique exactly about 1 point or 2. It was just rustiness for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'll give him a 5. We'll move on to Pogba. Zo?
Pogba, man, where do I start? He does so much. He's such an enigma, man. He does so much good, but then he also has these poor moments all wrapped into one game, wrapped into one play. Today, like I said, when he's using his strength, he looks fantastic. He looks fantastic. He's so strong. He He does great work when he gets stuck in, but I also find that he tends to go down a little bit easy. As soon as he feels a little bit of contact, hand in the back, he tends to go down a little bit and he's looking for the foul. And I don't know if that's always the right tactic. I understand sometimes you want to stop the run, you want to stop play and get a little bit of time to recover. But at the same time, sometimes it's like, I know you're strong enough to make it through that play. And if you do hold the ball up in that situation, chances are we might be in a better position offensively to capitalize, as opposed to if it turns into a dead ball situation. So that's the sort of thing. He needs to show a bit more urgency. He can out-hustled, out-worked at times. Today, there was more of the not-so-good stuff than the good stuff. Second half was an improvement. I'd give him a 6 out of 10.
He slowly got into the game. I agree with Zoa, like all his points.
But I think some very interesting points made over there when he especially those dead ball situations, he can try to improve that. I think that'll really help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to add a point to that, it seems that he's got this. He's like only in fourth gear. Like it seems that he has like 2-3 gears left in him, and you can see it in like little sparks of like explosion that he has. The way he maneuvers the ball relative to his body when he backs up against a player. He's almost playing basketball when he backs up into a player, and then suddenly like has these like quick turns and stuff like that. So it's like maybe it is a bit of psychology with the Pogba and just that managing him and all that sort of stuff. Definitely, I don't know. I don't know if it makes a difference that he's playing a bit deeper, because some of his passing is amazing. But I have to agree with the boys. It's just that I wanted to make that observation that I feel that I don't know if it's to do with his mentality or his positioning. But yeah.
I think it's an IQ thing, because there's this one interview that I always go back to. Sorry to cut you off, Don.
No.
Where it was Henry that was interviewing him, and I think it was after the City game where he scored 2 goals and sort of I believe won that game for us single-handedly. And Henry asked him, he's like, this is the Pogba that we all know exists. This is the Pogba that we all know is there. Why doesn't this Pogba show up, week in, week out? And Pogba's response was very telling. He's like, I don't know. And it was an honest, refreshing response. But it is that I think it is psychology. It is in his head that when he's fully motivated, when he's switched on, he's unstoppable. But he tends to take time off at the worst times.
And I think I have to give credit to Ole, who's trying now to kind of show him the kind of love that he, I think, wants and stuff like that. Because yesterday also he said in his press conference that he's the best in the world. No one will be able to drop him if he's in full form and stuff like that. Those are kind of encouraging words that a player of his caliber especially would like to listen and kind of just give him that confidence. So I think prop to Ole also to kind of see that side and kind of try and give him that kind of encouragement.
Yeah, with Ole, that's the credit I always gave him. He's a really good man manager. Like tactics is questionable, and I still don't feel like he's like spot on in terms of tactics. But like man managing, he's amazing, and that's how he's improved the team from last year to now.
Yep, I think that's fair. Moving on, the player of United, as I call him, Bruno Fernandes. Yusuf, you want to take this one?
Yeah,
Bruno.
He is like the missing piece in the puzzle that's kind of unlocked United's front three. And the way he is on the ball, the confidence, I think a lot of commentators have been talking about this in the last few matches. He's verbal. He makes himself known on the pitch. Like if he doesn't like something, you see him, like the camera turns to him and he's telling Martial, I think it was in the last match, he's like, yo, you should have gone like this. He's loud, right? And then he's got the talent. Like even today, the goal that hit the post, it's like, he's like, I'm not even going to look. He looks down and he just takes it on the volley. He could have maybe controlled the ball a bit and maybe like finessed it slightly and perhaps gotten the goal, which would have helped my fantasy team, by the way, just saying. But he's fantastic. He's the kind, I think what he's showing is what we hoped Mata would do when he first came from Chelsea, that attacking playmaker, not the deeper line one. And he's so good. Like he's talented. And I think ESPN tweeted or put something on Instagram where it's like, oh, is he the new Luis Figo, right? Because like they play like a similar role. And of course, he's not at that level. He has much to prove and, he has to win and all those sort of things. But there's not much to add. He's fantastic. And he's definitely one of the main reasons we're in contention for the top 4. And he makes us play like we played historically. Yeah. So my rating would be, I'd give him an 8.
8. Fair enough. I think especially considering that it's very important pass to Rashford.
Rashford.
I think it was.
Yeah, that was a beautiful pass. Yeah.
That was a pretty nice pass. Yeah.
If I could quickly add, that was my point. Like, I mean, I think he had a poor game today, but those 2 goals, like, he created it, right? Like, I mean, he got United the win basically with it was that creativity which was missing previously. And I agree with the 8 rating, but I still feel that he had a poor game. He lost the ball quite a bit. He looked fatigued. He missed that chance, which wasn't like really his fault, but like I probably could have taken more time and scored. But still, I would give him an 8 because of he's creating those chances and he's leading, and it's because of those United scoring goals. Otherwise, we would have probably lost a game like this before Bruno.
I completely agree with that. I think he did have a relatively poor game, especially in the first.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt like he was, but he did create an important. He had an important hand in both the goals, so I think that's a fair assessment.
So that
just brings
kind of
these
adds
moments of brilliance.
Yeah, moments of brilliance.
I'm with you guys that it was an off game for him comparatively speaking in terms of consistent impact throughout the game, but just those 2 moments of brilliance, it's exactly what we needed. We scored from both those opportunities, and that's what he brings. He might not, not every pass he makes will come off, but he has the potential to unlock defenses, unlock other teams, and that's what we've been needing for so long, so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, I guess when you ask me on the spot to rate him, right? It's like when you ask me to reflect on the game, even less than an hour before, those 2 moments is what made my judgment give him an 8. And then when you guys talk about his actual game, and he missed some passes, he didn't. It's like, oh right, he did do that, but his brilliance overshadows any mistakes. So I guess just wanted to add that.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Moving on to the attackers. Let's go with Greenwood. Musti.
Greenwood, last 2 games he's been missing. I mean, and this was expected. We were talking about this in the previous podcast that he's not gonna be crazy every game. He's still really young. Again, he looked really tired. That's why I want to put emphasis that we need to get somebody like Sancho. Not taking anything away from Greenwood. He's a really talented boy, but you could see the fatigue was kicking in and he was just not getting into that space and he lost the ball a couple of times. I would give him a 5. I'm really sorry, like I'm being harsh, but it's just based on the performance. But I'm not too concerned about it. It's not like, oh wow, we need to drop him or anything like that. Just need to give the boy some time. That's it.
Yeah. It's just hard right now. Like you have 3 games in the next week, so it's going to be hard to.
It's going to be difficult, yeah, and it'll be a test of his character. I think he'll hopefully comes out of it, but yeah, like we can't really blame him. But yeah,
there's a point that I wanted to make about Greenwood, if I can, and that point is basically that he hasn't been scoring. Like he has had a little bit of a tough time the past couple of games. We mentioned that before, but it's also important to note that teams are doubling the defensive cover on him. They're sending 2 players to mark him out of the game to, close off the space that he gets into, because one guy, because he's double-footed, it's so easy for him to turn a single defender. If you close him one way, he goes the other and he's just as deadly. So I think that the doubling of defensive cover, sending multiple players at him is obviously going to limit his effectiveness. And where I think the next step in his evolution is going to be is when he learns how to, when he figures out how to involve the other guys in the front line, the other players that are making runs forward. Because if you've got 2, maybe 3 defenders closing you out, closing down your lanes, there are options opening up for other players to get into threatening positions. And I think he needs to, once he adds that part to his game, he's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah. And so it's providing Rashford with a bit of space on the left, like because people are like, he's attracting the attention on the right. So Rashford, I think he was more involved in the last 2 games. I think it's helped his game with people double teaming.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good point over there. Talking about Rashford, Yusuf, you want to take it, Rashford?
Yep. So Marcus Rashford, since the restart of the Premier League, he's slowly been building up. And, the first couple of games, it was a bit rusty. He wasn't quite there. Martial scored a hat-trick and then Mason Greenwood came up. And the last couple of matches, he's improved a lot. And he's maybe because like you guys said, like he's getting more space on the ball and some time to run. But like his goal was fantastic. It's like, it was definitely a fast play and just like an overall point. Whenever, going back to my original point, whenever United are at speed, whether that's running long distance or like few quick passes in the box, that's when you're most deadly. And like they worked the ball well, but the way he deked the 2 players and like floored them, and then just like instead of going on his left foot, stopped and just literally stopped and went on the right side. Talent. The boy has talent. And arguably, if you compare Rashford when he first started for United, he's maybe not as talented as Greenwood. Like Greenwood brings back the memories of like Van Nistelrooy and Van Persie, like, like elite goal scorers. Like you don't doubt their ability, right? Whereas Rashford, historically, there has been seasons or like, like, yeah, he burst onto the scene, but there's points even this season, last season, it's like, man, he's not as clinical with his finishing and stuff. But today he did a really good job. I have to commend his effort. Even I think in the 109th minute, he tried to chase down a ball. He was running hard, and he's growing into the season, and hopefully he peaks. Maybe he scores a brace in the next game. Hopefully, I'll give him an 8.
That's there. Moving on finally to Zoe's main man, Tony Martial.
Tony. Man, I love this guy. I love this guy.
He's such a G, man. He's got that swag.
Oof.
50 million down the drain. Tony Martial scores
again. Honestly, I thought he was great today. He's really growing into that number 9 role, especially after Bruno coming on board. I think that really helped him, helps provide him with the service that he's been looking for that he wasn't necessarily getting in the first half of the season. His hold-up play, his link-up play, just, every game it gets better. The chemistry that he already has with Marcus Rashford, the chemistry that he's developing with Bruno, the chemistry that he has with Pogba. Like, these guys are instinctively finding each other in great positions, and that's not necessarily like, let me look up and see where the guy is. It's, I'm going to play the ball and I know that he's going to be there. Tony's play in the build-up to Marcus's goal, lovely, just nice, simple passing, but crisp, creating space, the movement, drawing defenders away, opening up space for Marcus to do his thing. And then again, for the second goal for Martial scoring his fantastic finish, him on his right foot, just curling that in it's bread and butter for him. And again, it's just that the movement that he was able to incorporate and feed instinctively off Rashford's ball, which was again delightful from Bruno's even more beautiful through pass through the Crystal Palace defender's legs. I don't know, man. It's art for me. But all that said, I'd give him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair assessment. I think very important. I just happened to notice that when I watched the highlights of the goal, that movement as soon as the Rashford pass came in, right, he just picked up the speed right at the perfect time to just go over the defense. It was just like a proper goal scoring kind of mindset, right? That was just quite nice to see.
100%.
And
so it's quite nice to see you praising United. That's quite nice.
When I see a good goal, I like it. I mean, I saw the highlights of that goal, right? I just that perfect moment of just picking up that pace, just that extra bit more than the defender, so that he creates that space for himself. That was quite nice. It's just a proper goal scoring kind of mindset over there. So that was nice to see.
And just to add on to what you were saying, Don, there was a point previously, I guess, because I think I was watching the replay from a certain angle and he thought that Bruno was going to pick him out, right? So like I saw it from an angle, like his face went off and maybe previously he would have stopped his run. But even though he felt that the pass should have gone to him, he kept running. And when he saw Rashford get it, he put the jets on, right? Yeah. So that was a very small point that I noticed in the replay, and that's a testament to the attitude change. Also, like of course he's got that like dirty look as if he stole something from the supermarket. That's always going to be there. That's always going to be there. But just he didn't give up. He didn't stop. He wasn't disheartened, right? It's like, oh man, like previously I think during the season and even last season, like United have become disheartened at times and they stopped the run or whatnot. But this time, he felt that he wanted the pass from Bruno directly, but then when he saw Marcus he kept going. So that's like a big change for me, and it's a positive for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing about Tony Martial though is that when he burst into the scene and United paid a lot of money for him and everything, and they were comparing him to Thierry Henry, I was like, guys, calm down.
Don, he could be, bro. Don't
you see the familiarity now? The similarity. He started off on the left, now he's a striker and he's killing it. I think he's the next coming.
No, man, he has to do everything he is and then increase that by like 1,000 times, and then we'll consider. Just messing, but yeah, I think that's fair. I think just any last thoughts on Crystal Palace for you guys? Any thoughts about the team, how they've been performing pretty much all season, whatever? Any thoughts on them?
Yeah, I mean, like
comfortable position. I mean, they're not really up challenging for any top spots, or neither are they in the relegation They're kind of sitting pretty in the middle. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for them the main problem is finishing. They need some work up front. Apart from that, they're a good team. Van Holt, is that how you pronounce it? Van Holt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he was really impressive. Like I was very impressed by him today. And the midfield is pretty good as well. Defense is not bad, but they don't have like a proper goal scorer. Like Benteke is injured, but still they need somebody up front who can score those like 15, 20 goals a season. I think they can compete then like for Europa League spot because they're a decent team. But up front is the issue, and I think again today that was the problem. They were unlucky with the offside goal, but then again when they were creating in the midfield, they just didn't have that end product which was missing, and I feel that's where they need to improve. That's it.
It's just a point to add there. The Benteke has actually got a red card last game. That's why he wasn't.
Oh, yeah, red card. My bad. Yeah, but even when he's playing, he's not the goal scoring form which he had before, right? Previously, like a few years ago. So I think they need that end product to improve.
And also, just an important point. Sorry to add. Sorry to cut you off, but I'll let you go after this. Is that their defense is a second-hand defense? They don't have a Cahill. They don't have Kelly. I think
there you go. And they're still doing a decent job.
That's what it is, and I think it's a decently coached team. I think Robertson's done a decent job of coaching them to keep them mid-table. Robertson's not a top quality coach. He won't be able to like win you titles or anything, but he'll do enough to keep you in the league, and he'll keep you in the middle somewhere.
But it's good you said that because I didn't notice that, and the thing I noticed was the attack. If that was a second string defense, and I mean that means they have a lot of potential. Yeah,
exactly. Yusuf, you want to add anything over there?
Yeah, I was just going to actually talk about it's a typical Hodgson team, and that he'll keep you, somewhere in the middle of the table. But the players that they have, they should be, I don't know if they should be doing better, but, you could see them doing better, right? If Wilfred Zaha gets everything together, right? And then he's feeding Benteke and, you have Jordan Ayew, who's got talent. Like I've seen him play for, if I'm not mistaken, Swansea or Aston Villa, one of the brothers. Swansea, yeah. So it's they have the components to be maybe a top 10 team, but right now teams like Southampton are, I think, better than them. So they can do more, but they're solid. I think they're a fixture in the Premier League. I don't think they're going to be relegated anytime soon. I could be wrong, but they're stable enough to keep in the Premier League. And I think Zaha might get sold. I don't think if he gets sold, he doesn't have an obvious choice anymore. I think the commentators were talking about it, that he might fit into a team like Tottenham, but there's no point in him going to City or something like that, or Liverpool. Right. So they need to get more out of him if they want to get better, basically.
I agree. I think we've covered all the points that we needed to, I think, today. Any final thoughts? Anything at all? Anyone wants to go?
Yeah, so you want to?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the heat for the top four is at full blaze right now. I'm really happy. It's been a fantastic restart to the season. I'm glad to see that United's been able to sustain this run of form. Obviously, there's dips here and there, but honestly, I'm really happy with our performance since the restart, even before, basically, since Bruno coming in. It's going to go down to the wire. Me and Mustafa were talking about this, how even, with Leicester, it's we have to get a result, basically. We can't lose. And we obviously have to win our remaining games. Goal difference is going to be a key thing. There's so many little factors that could go into it. So it's just very, very interesting to see how we finish up and how other teams finish up as well. I've never been more interested in Leicester and Chelsea games than as of now. But let's see how it goes. I really like the way that the team is clicking. Fatigue is an issue for me. I am worried about that. And again, with players like Lingard, again, I didn't see anything from him today that leads me to believe that he's a United player. He came on, he had energy, but I just feel with him, there's no end product. There's no incisiveness. When a player is running, when a player is moving, you're like, oh, this guy's a threat. I feel that Lingard is just not a threat, and it's easy for opposition defenders to just be like, okay, this guy's not actually a goal-scoring threat. We can kind of sag off him and focus more on the brighter attacking options that United has. So that's my Lingard rant for today.
Yep, I think, Yusuf, just before I let you go, I just want to add one thing over there. That is why you never dance on the Emirates pitch. Moving on to Yusuf.
I think this is one of those hot takes, and I might be completely wrong, but I think he's the new Danny Welbeck. I think he had potential when he came in. I remember, I think he went on loan to Birmingham City, and in one match the season before he rejoined United full time, he scored, I think, 5 goals in a match, or at least a hat trick or like between 3 and 5 goals, and everyone was hyping him and everything. But I think he's just a case of a player, a modern day player who basically, did well financially. He got the clout. He started making his own, clothing brand and stuff. And no power to him, man. Like he deserves all of that. But I think he lost too much focus on the game. And, I think Sterling was kind of in that same boat, but Pep Guardiola got him straight. And now Sterling's a top player, right? He's an automatic starter for England, right? So as much as like I'm not a big Sterling fan, but, like he needed, or he still needs some kind of guidance. And he just he looks like a shell of what he can do, because he's capable. Like some of his strikes are fantastic. He's got that run, but I think this is harsh, but I think he's been distracted by things, and it's unfortunate. Like he's an academy product, or they bought him in very young. So like it's a shame, but yeah, I have to agree with Zoe. He's not a United caliber player right now.
There's one last point that I wanted to make basically is that I think it's important, and this is a discussion for another day, but I think it's really important to consider the influence and impact of the various managers that these guys have played under, because a lot of the team regressed during the Van Gaal and Mourinho eras, and I think that's where Jesse suffered a lot. It's interesting you made that comparison with Sterling, and having a manager like Pep is definitely going to help you get the best out of a player. So I wonder how much of that plays into it as well, apart from obviously the other things you mentioned, off-pitch distractions, his general mindset, and all those things, which are all valid. But I wonder how much of an impact the various managers have had on his development.
I think that's a good point. I'm just going to end by throwing out a hypothetical situation at all three of you. I'm just going to
before you, I know
get your answers on.
Yeah, sorry. Go.
Go, Musti, go. What do you want to say?
No, I'm saying before you end, like I just wanted to say, before we sell Lingard, everything, I want Lingard, Igalo, all these guys to start on against Chelsea. I want my message to Ole is bench Rashford, Pogba, Bruno, everybody. Let Lingard lead the line. Give him the captaincy band. I don't care. But right now, like I know it's controversial, but I don't care about the FA Cup right now. We need Champions League football, and we need everyone rested for the West Ham game. 2 wins, and we got the Champions League spot. So it's down to us now. So who cares about the FA Cup right now? Like I mean, it's a good trophy to win. It's a good trophy to win, but because of the situation, this is not the time. Let's focus on the Champions League, and Lingard captaincy ban, score a hat trick or get a red card. It doesn't really matter. It's fine.
I agree, man.
That kind of just throws water on my.
Sorry. That was your question. Yeah,
but it's okay. I was just going to ask you. So, would you take Champions League or would you take the FA Cup victory?
100%
Champions. The FA Cup victory, then you don't get Champions League. Would that be a thought?
Of course. Like, what would you do if it was Arsenal? It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
No, I take the FA Cup because they're not making Champions League.
Right now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If this was last season, I would have definitely gone all out for that FA Cup semi-final, and it's a very trust me, a cup win is a cup win. It is fun, but right now, I think the focus should be on the Champions League.
Yeah. I think we won too many of those FA Cups recently. I won the Premier League. We're coming for you. Anyway. Thanks, guys. Good discussion. Catch you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Care.